Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a really fascinating text from the book Zazen. It makes some pretty extraordinary claims, linking deep meditation not just to, peace of mind, but to what it calls supernatural physical powers. And it all kicks off with one big question.
So, can meditation give you superpowers? Well, the text we're looking at today argues that these abilities aren't magic. Instead, they're the result of incredible physiological control. To really get our heads around this, we've got to start by looking at the raw data.
Okay, first up, let's look at heart rate. An average person is ticking along at over 70 beats per minute. A pretty healthy senior disciple gets down to 60. But get this, the master's resting heart rate is a stunningly low 35. That is literally half the average rate, and believe me, that's just the start.
Now check out the breathing rate, because this is where it gets even more dramatic. An average person takes about 20 breaths a minute. The senior disciple, less than 15. The master, though, he takes fewer than 5 breaths per minute. And that's when he's just walking around, not meditating. That's less than a quarter of the normal rate.
So how is that possible? Well, this slide shows us the secret. It's all about breathing efficiency. You or I, we use about 4% of the oxygen we breathe in. The disciple uses 7%. But the master uses over 16%, which makes every single one of his breaths more than 4 times as efficient as ours. Now remember, these are just his baseline stats. Let's see what happens when he actually takes active control.
Right, so we're moving past the passive measurements now. The text shifts into active demonstrations of bodily control that, honestly, sound like they defy the limits of human biology.
The first demonstration just sounds impossible. The master can isolate and contract a single muscle on his waist, making it move all on its own while everything around it stays perfectly still. His students try to copy him, but all they can do is move their entire stomach wall at once.
And he basically tells them, don't even bother trying. He explains that this isn't some cool party trick. It's a sign of a completely different level of bodily control. And this mastery over a single muscle, well, it's just a warm-up for an even more dramatic display.
All right, so the next demonstration is even more startling. It involves a visible, physical transformation of the master's eyes, happening right there in front of his students.
He takes one deep breath. He blinks once, and his pupils start to expand. He blinks a second time, and they get even wider. After a third blink, his pupils have grown so large they've basically swallowed his irises, leaving just these black voids. I'm not surprised, the text says. The sight absolutely terrified his students.
So what is happening here? He's quick to clarify that this isn't some mystical divine eye. He calls it the physical eye, a purely physiological state that he achieves by using his focused intent to flood his eyes with super-oxygenated blood.
And the results of this state are just wow. His vision becomes more than 3 times sharper, his effective range triples, his field of view widens significantly, and his perception of movement gets so intense that a flying arrow would look like it's moving in slow motion. He can even see perfectly in near darkness.
But, and this is a big but, he warns them this state is temporary. He can't hold it for more than 2 minutes because the intense infusion of blood would actually damage the tissue of his eyes. So even for a master, the body has its limits. Which brings up the big question. How is any of this even possible?
So how is this possible? Well, the text explains the secret isn't magic at all. It's about a deep, deep mastery over the body's 2 most fundamental systems, energy and blood.
Now, the text makes a really crucial distinction here between 2 types of energy. An ordinary person trying this would use what it calls mundane yin energy. It's an unrefined kind of chaotic force that would just cause blood to pool up and probably cause an injury. The master, on the other hand, commands a refined yang energy, a powerful, precise current that's carried by blood containing 3 times the normal amount of oxygen.
So you see the causal chain here, right? It's like a formula. It all starts with mastered breathing. That leads to high oxygen blood. That blood is then precisely directed by focused energy. And that, in turn, enhances the abilities of specific body parts. Simple, but incredibly powerful.
And this whole principle of directing superoxygenated blood isn't just for vision. The text says the exact same technique can be used to crank up other senses to a superhuman level.
Yep, by applying the same technique, pushing that super-oxygenated blood to the cells in his ears, the master explains that his hearing can become extraordinarily sensitive, enhanced by several times.
And to prove his point, he throws down a challenge. He says, listen, right now, in a totally different hall, there are more than 30 people meditating.
By activating his enhanced hearing, he can listen to all of their breathing patterns at the same time. And just from those subtle sounds, he claims he can tell the precise meditative state and the level of depth for every single one of those 30-plus people in the other room. Incredible.
So all of this, all these incredible feats, they lead to a really powerful conclusion about the relationship between our minds and our bodies.
The core message of the text is this: you can't separate true mental cultivation from profound physical knowledge. It's saying that to truly master your mind, you first have to understand and then achieve complete mastery over your body.
So, let's recap the whole process we've seen. It all begins with advanced breathing. That unlocks control over your blood flow and energy. That control can then be used to dramatically enhance your senses. And what this means is that what seems supernatural is presented here as a trainable, physical skill that's rooted in the body itself.
And that leaves us with a pretty provocative thought to end on, doesn't it? If the body's internal systems can be controlled to this degree, like this text claims, what other human potentials might still be waiting to be discovered?